Ever seen a monster that's actually useful? Meet our eerie long-necked Demogorgon. Whether you want a quirky keychain, a one-of-a-kind curtain tie-back, or just a weird little friend to hang anywhere, this is it. Don't let the look fool you. Using only basic stitches and a few simple tricks, I'll show you how to bring this creature to life. I believe you can do it, so let's get started. First, we'll crochet the inner flower. I'll start with the center using black yarn. However, since black can be difficult to see on camera, I'll be using pink yarn as a substitute for this demonstration. Start with a magic ring. Chain 1. Then work 6 single crochet stitches into the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To finish the round, slip stitch into the very first single crochet. Round 2, chain 1. In the same stitch as the chain, work an increase, which means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Repeat this all the way to the end of the round. To finish the round, slip stitch into the very first single crochet. From here on, we will start each round with a chain 1 and finish with a slip stitch into the first stitch. I'll only mention it if there's a change in this routine, so we can focus on the pattern instructions. Moving on to round 3, work 1 single crochet, followed by 1 increase in the next stitch. Repeat the sequence 4 more times. Crochet 3 single crochets into the same stitch. And in the very last stitch, work 1 increase. Cut the yarn. For round 4, switch to red yarn. We'll be working into the front loops only, or FLO. Insert your hook into the front loop of the first stitch. Chain 1. Then work 1 single crochet in every stitch around to the end. Fasten off and cut the yarn. Now, we're going to move on to the petals. Now, we'll work into the remaining back loops, also known as BLO. Join the yarn into the back loop of the first single crochet. Chain 1. And work 1 single crochet into that same stitch. Then, continue with 2 more single crochets in the next stitches. Chain 1 and turn your work. In the stitch you just chained from, work 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, work 1 increase. One single crochet in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work. Row 3, start with 1 increase. Followed by 3 single crochets. To finish this part, work 1 more increase at the end. Chain 1 and turn your work. Row 4, pull the yarn up slightly to lengthen the loop. Work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch across. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now, we'll work 1/2 double crochet decrease. Followed by 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and finish with 1 more half double crochet decrease. Chain 1 and turn your work. Row 6, work 1/2 double crochet decrease. Then 1/2 double crochet. And finish with 1 single crochet decrease. Chain 1 and turn your work. For row 7, we're going to decrease 3 stitches into 1. Work 1 single crochet 3 together to finish the shape. Chain 1 and fasten off to finish your first petal. You will need to make 4 more petals using the same pattern, leaving 1 stitch space between each one. For the final petal, which is slightly smaller, leave a 2-stitch gap from the larger petals. I've put the pattern for the small petal on the screen since it's very similar, just with fewer stitches. Now, let's work on the flower edging. For a more detailed look, you can use a slightly darker shade of red yarn. Insert your hook and join the yarn into the base of any petal. Chain 1. Then work single crochets all along the edge to create the border. Once the edging is complete, we'll start crocheting the teeth for our flower. Using white yarn, insert your hook into any stitch. Chain 3. Then work a slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Chain 1. Chain 1 and finish with a slip stitch into the next stitch. Cut the yarn. That's our first tooth completed. Now, continue making the rest of the teeth around the flower, leaving one stitch space between each one. That's our first tooth completed. Now, continue making the rest of the teeth around the flower, leaving one stitch space between each one. We'll use gray yarn for the entire flower. First, let's crochet the center. Since rounds 1 and 2 are exactly the same as the inner flower, I'll display the pattern on the screen for you to follow. Round 3, work 1 single crochet, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern all the way to the end of the round. Round 4, work 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and 1 single crochet. Repeat this sequence all the way to the end of the round. Round 5, work 3 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern all the way to the end of the round. Now we'll start working on the petals. Chain 1. And work 1 single crochet into the same stitch. Then, work 3 more single crochets in the following stitches. You should have a total of 4 single crochets. The technique is exactly the same as the small flower, just with a different number of stitches. I'll display the full pattern on the screen so you can easily follow along and crochet at your own pace. You will crochet 4 petals, leaving 2 stitches between each one. The final petal will be a smaller version, and it should be placed 3 stitches away from the larger petals. I've displayed the pattern for the small petal on the screen for you. Now, we'll continue by adding the border with single crochets, just like the inner flower I showed you earlier. We'll stick with the gray yarn for this entire part. Now that both flowers are finished, let's join them together. Place the red flower on top of the gray one. Make sure to align them correctly, matching the large petals with the large ones and the small petals with the small ones. Using the gray yarn, we will join the 2 flowers together by working single crochets through both layers at once. Please note that we'll be working through the back loops only of both flowers to connect them seamlessly. And here is how our flower looks once it's all connected. Now, we're going to crochet the head of the Demogorgon. Since the pattern is quite simple, I'll display the instructions right here on the screen for you. Now, go ahead and add a little bit of fiberfill inside. If you choose to sew the head onto the flower, make sure to leave a long tail for sewing. Alternatively, you can also use hot glue to attach them. The head is finished, and now we'll move on to the body. But first, please follow the pattern on the screen to crochet the 2 arms. Now, let's crochet the leg. Start with a magic ring. Chain 1, and work 6 single crochets into the ring. Finish the round with a slip stitch. Round 2, work 1 single crochet, followed by 1 increase. Repeat the sequence 2 more times. Round 3, work 1 single crochet in each stitch. Cut the yarn to finish the first leg. Now, make a second leg exactly the same way, but do not cut the yarn. Now that we've finished the second leg and kept the yarn attached, chain 1. Then connect it to the first single crochet of the last round on the first leg with a single crochet. Make sure to mark the first stitch. Continue by working 8 more single crochets around this first leg. Now, work 1 single crochet into the chain we made earlier. Next, move to the second leg and work 9 single crochets around it. And right here in the same chain from earlier, work 1 more single crochet. Finish the round with a slip stitch. Round 5, work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of the round. Round 6, start with 4 single crochets. Followed by 1 decrease. Then, work 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Another one decrease. And finish the round with 4 single crochets. For round 7, work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. From round 7 to round 10, we will follow the same pattern for every row. Round 11, work 3 single crochets. Followed by 1 decrease. Then 8 single crochets. 2, 3, 4. 1 decrease. And finish with 3 single crochets. Round 12, work 2 single crochets. 1 decrease. Then, 3 single crochets. One decrease. Followed by 3 single crochets. One decrease. And finish the round with 2 single crochets. Round 13, work 3 single crochets. Round 13, work 3 single crochets. Then we'll attach the first arm. Insert your hook through the arm, then through the body, pull the yarn through, and work 1 single crochet. Please watch closely as I join the arm to the body. Continue by working 5 single crochets around the first arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, continue onto the body and work 4 single crochets across. 2, 3, 4. Next, work 1 decrease. Now, we'll attach the second arm using the same technique as before. Insert your hook through the arm, then through the body, pull the yarn through, and work 1 single crochet. Continue by working 5 single crochets around the second arm. Work 2 single crochets in the last 2 remaining stitches to finish the round. Round 14, work 3 single crochets. One decrease. For single crochets on the first arm. Followed by 1 decrease. Three single crochets. And another 1 decrease. Next, work 4 single crochets on the second arm. And finish with 2 single crochets in the last 2 stitches. Round 15, work 2 single crochets. Followed by 2 decreases. Then, work 3 single crochets. Three. 4. 5. 6. Another 2 decreases. And finish the round with 3 single crochets. Now, let's add some stuffing. Make sure to stuff it firmly so the body is sturdy. Try to puff out the belly a bit, it will make your creature look much more adorable. Now, we will perform 6 decreases. After the 6 decreases, you'll have 3 stitches remaining. Now, we will decrease these 3 stitches into 1 to close the round. Round 17, work 1 single crochet in each stitch. From here, we'll start creating the long neck for our monster. Continue crocheting until round 70, with a total of 7 stitches per round. And there we have it, the long neck is finished. It looks perfectly eerie and unique. Now, you can either sew or glue the neck onto the head to finish the assembly. We have finally completed our long neck Demogorgon. I'm so proud of you for staying until the very end to master this pattern. Happy crocheting, and I'll see you in the next video.